Hey, how y'all doing?
Special editions, y'all. We know it's for those who celebrate Thanksgiving. So we know that you guys have to do your thing. So we figured we can kind of like do a show today. You guys can go back at your leisure to watch. So like, share, and subscribe. And make sure that you are registered.
Follow us on Instagram.
Also on Instagram
and on YouTube. We trying to get those numbers up.
Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. So we're gonna go straight into it. So today was a swearing in.
Yes.
And one of us was able to make it.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know. I got some videos from the swearing in. I'm gonna reserve my.
Now I want to just tell me about the ones you saw.
All right. So the ones that I did see. All right. So Mr. What's his face? So Zeman's swearing in.
I think he spoke the longest.
He did. I'm not too sure how I feel about his speech. There's some nuances that I picked up on and that's probably my just own personal thing that kind of made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But for the sake of others and those who watch our show, he mentioned that he's going to work with the superintendent, and it almost alluded to that this new board is coming in to reverse what the outgoing board did by terminating the new superintendent. I'm not sure if he meant because she still has 90 days within her contract, or 60 days, I can't remember, within her contract to continue out up until they find a replacement, or if he's alluding to they're going to reinstate her. I'm not sure. I thought that was a bold move to say during his speech. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about that.
So what do you think about the new board chair and co-chair? Is it called a co-chair, or what's the name?
Yeah,
vice chair.
Chair and vice chair.
Yeah, so Lori Alherdef is the board chair, and Debbie Hickson is the vice chair.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. She went out for the chair position twice, and wasn't able to get it. And so with this new board ushering in, I think that was inevitable that was going to happen. I think Miss Hickson could do a good job as a vice chair. We'll see how that works out. I'm not surprised that those two got those chair and vice chair positions. I think that sends a message that this new board is trying to portray this is a new day, a new era, and we're gonna be getting down to business. So it's what's that word I'm looking for? That phrase. What is it? We got to see it, I guess. We're going. It remains to be seen.
Remains to be seen. Okay.
It remains to be seen. The Jeff Holness is swearing in with Dr. Osgood in another place.
She did hers remotely.
She did
hers. At some point, her audio and stuff got messed up, so we missed some of it. But technology, yeah. So she did hers remotely. But somebody was there with the Bible for him. Okay. So even though she did her thing, somebody was actually there with him. With the Bible.
I didn't see Zeman with the Bible, and then he raised his left hand. That gave me pause. The other thing with Brenda Pham,
she had a fan club over there.
Mm-hmm.
She had a fan club in that room.
The Spanish and the English swearing.
I mean, she didn't repeat the Spanish. I think that was more so. I guess for her. Yeah, she said her constituents were mainly Spanish speaking, so she was going to take the oath in Spanish, but she ain't speaking no Spanish, so she didn't even repeat nothing he said. She just at the end was like, yeah, and said whatever in English, but she had taken the oath in English before that. So
right. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. To me, there was a lot of firsts for me, and there was like little nuances. I want to hear what you have to say, because then we probably might have to piggyback on each other. I am not surprised with the chair and the vice chair, the chair and the vice chair. I'm not surprised.
But what are your thoughts on that? Because like both of those people, well, I mean, so Debbie Hickson isn't from Parkland, but I think she got on the board because of her experience of being part of what happened with MSD. Mm-hmm. So does that seem to be a balanced board with you with both of them having that Parkland bonding experience that was the motivation for them to get on the board in the first place? One of the concerns that a lot of, people who are in Broward County, particularly folks who have their children in school, is that everything is always about Parkland and MSD. Yeah. Like no one else, not enough resources are allocated to other parts of the county because everything is usually, so many resources. I shouldn't say everything. So many resources have been dedicated to Parkland and MSD, and I know you live in the city, so you may have, I don't know what your thoughts on that, but what are your thoughts on, since there's already such big criticism on MSD and Parkland? Well, I don't know if criticism, but people are feeling that there's some level of unfairness and imbalance, right?
There's no
the chair and the vice chair representing.
There isn't any equity when it comes down to the Parkland issue versus the rest of the district. So, and when I say there isn't any equity, there is facts to prove that there wasn't really any equity in terms of how the state sent funding to the specific Parkland area as opposed to the entire district. There was an imbalance there. So, and you all can look that up. And I'll, if you want me to bring information or bring back receipts, I can. So to me, those two being part of the initial issue that brought our district into light in terms of failures. As far as balance, personally, I don't think that there is a balance. I don't think that but I guess my only saving grace is why I'm not putting too much emphasis on it is that each vote, everybody's voting. I haven't really seen people vote across the board. If the chair votes for something and the vice chair votes for something, then everybody else falls in line, and that historically hasn't been the case. Mm-hmm. However, my major concern will be that the driving force in terms of board business could, in my opinion, be surrounded around their agenda, and whatever that agenda is. And we're not stupid. People can watch the school board meetings and see how the agenda pierces itself in between agenda items. So no, outside looking in, if all Broward County is looking and seeing who is chair and vice chair, they're going to I feel like they're going to automatically feel that this is not it's not a balanced board. It remains to be seen, as I mentioned or whatever. We just don't know. To me, there's a bunch of wild cards, and I'm not, comfortable with people. Like, it's one thing to think one person's a wild card, but when there's several different options that can flip how things are done in the district, I'm super concerned. So for me personally, not talking about nobody else, but I just think that it does not look like a balanced board, not at all. What about you? What do you think?
So, in terms of whether or not it's a balanced board, let me just say it this way. I'm not sure how they're going to work together, right? Because I was there at the swearing in, and I listened to some of the statements that people were saying, and we interviewed like some of the people that won, right? We interviewed Zeman, we interviewed Jeff Holness. Brenda Pham wouldn't come speak to us, so we didn't get to talk to her. But we had interviewed Debbie Hickson in the past, so I've spoken, to her. And so, and I watch, and we all both have watched a lot of panels, so we are somewhat familiar with some of what the people on the board are doing. But just like from today and what happened last week, I don't know how they're going to work together, because it seems to me that everyone has their agenda, and I'm not sure how I think each individual board member has an agenda, and I don't know how those agendas are all going to work together, right? Mm-hmm. I keep hearing them talk about, students first. We need to focus on the students and this and that and the third, but I think they all have different ways of wanting to do that. And I don't know And I'm actually hopeful. I hope they can really do what's best for the students, but it just seems to, it's going to be interesting. This is what I should say. And interesting isn't really a good word, but I want to see how it is that they're going to be able to work through this and really do what's best for the students. One of the when Zeman made a statement, and I don't know if he misspoke, meant to say it, or was he intentional what he said. He said he intends to be on this board with this superintendent, right? So he said that. He said he intended to be on the board with the current superintendent that we have right now. We all know that the superintendent was essentially fired already, right? And she's just doing she had a 60-day work part in her contract, and they were hoping to have her out in 90 days, right? But he said he's going to work, he intends on being on this board with this superintendent. And there had been talk of them wanting to rescind the firing. So is that going to happen, right? Is that going to happen? And there was a little bit of an elephant in the room that maybe some people didn't notice, because they still had 9 people sitting there, which included the superintendent. The district District 1 person has not been seated, right? For whatever reasons. I don't want to get into that because I don't know. I ain't hear nothing from the horse's mouth. I just know that the person wasn't there, so I don't want to comment on why that, in fact, did not take place. So we actually have a board with 8 folks right now. It was 8 people who participated in what was happening today. So what happens if you get a 4-4 situation? Like, what is that going to look like, right? The parts of the board meeting that I did get to see today, it seemed like everything they was voting on was unanimous, even though the people who work for the county that was supposed to explain these issues to them came with the I don't know. One of the ladies who was supposed to be presenting information was on a plane to go visit her family for Thanksgiving. And then they had some other Plan B person that came in there. Ain't know half of what was going on. And I'm still stunned by that. I'm still absolutely floored by the fact that you have people that are getting paid 6 figures to come to meetings that can't answer questions from the board. And this is tolerated week and week after week, right? So that's definitely one thing. I'm hopeful that they'll be able to figure out and work out. I just don't see it yet. But again, I don't know all of them to, and I'll continue to observe to see if that in fact happens. And I really do hope they really want to do what's best for the students. I still don't see that part yet, because even when Lori Ahadev's husband was talking about her and, what she's going to do, he mentioned some books. He said, oh, yes, and my wife has made arrangements for books to be delivered directly to the school. And I thought this was something she had already done. He said, oh, this is what she's doing moving forward. I'm like, wait. So I was like, you're going to have it delivered to the school, but the last couple of meetings that I heard, there were some books in the warehouse. So is this the same book? Because y'all don't even know what books are in the warehouse, right? So did you go buy some more books? Did y'all at least figure out what happened to the books that's in the warehouse yet? Because if y'all did, there was no update. And I think, we should know if the books are still in the warehouse or if they actually made it to the students, before people go talk about buying more books and stuff and having them delivered directly to the school. And then if they are having directly to the school, y'all got a whole bunch of people that don't know what's going on. Where's the accountability? Like, who's going to keep track of the fact that the books actually made it to the schools and they're going to get to the students, right? And then, of course, my question is, like, don't she represent seat 4 out there in Parkland and Coral Springs and all that kind of stuff? I don't think there was the people that had problems getting books in the first place. So I don't know how impressed I am that they got their books on time and their books are going to be delivered. And, because the concern has always been about, the schools in the East, the schools in District 5, the schools in District 1 not getting what they want. So I don't know how impressive it is that you're making sure. And again, I don't want to knock nobody that live in certain neighborhoods. That ain't what I'm trying to do. But I don't know how impressed I am that you're making sure that people who was already getting books are going to get their books delivered directly to them.
I agree.
I could be wrong and I could have misunderstood. But that's how that was sounding to me.
I totally agree with you, and I think one of the things I want to make sure that you said something, but I want to correct you, not like a correction, like a back correction, but the correction I want to say is like the people getting books, things that they want. It's not things that they want; it's things that they need in those schools. So the books that the schools out east that are not getting, they need those books. They don't want them. And the other thing too is that all those things that you just mentioned in terms of how they're going to work together, and how that thing. I really truly believe that, before I was saying, staff need to really they know when the meetings are, they get the agendas, they know things, whatever. But then again, leadership also kind of creates that level of incompetence, in my opinion. So if you have board members who talk about things that they're going to do, or they're going to put initiatives and put things together, and they haven't done it, and they bring it back up again saying that's something they're going to do moving forward, then I really see why it is that staff will come to a meeting and not be prepared. Leadership people, the people who are under leadership take their cues from leadership. And if leadership is not making a big deal and not making it an issue,
not setting no standards or requirements, anything, if you're not making an issue
not knowing of your staff people coming in and not having information, I'm pretty sure the person who was going to visit their family for Thanksgiving knew the dates that they were going to leave. They could have left somebody in place to go ahead and present information if they needed it. My thing is that I don't know how things get done. Mm-hmm. If you have staff coming in and every time there's a planned schedule meeting that that you're coming to, they're going to be on the agenda, that items that have to be voted on, and you don't have information when the board members are asking you questions about why. And the questions are for the public. So the public can hear and see what's going on in the district, what they're working on, and what they're voting on, because they have to provide the public information. But if you're coming to a meeting and you're coming for said item that you are in charge of, and I'm asking you for information, you were like, well, I'm going to have to go get staff, or I don't have those numbers. It boggles my mind. And the thing is, that is a chronic issue. A chronic issue. This is not something that happens once in a while. It's a chronic issue. And I think that speaks volume as to how things work in the district. People people want to complain about, people ain't doing this and people ain't doing that, and the board members, they're supposed to do this, and then the superintendent's supposed to do that, or whatever. But it all it all comes together. They all work together. They all have to share the blame. So to me, I don't think a board member should come in and say, with the utmost respect and professionalism, this is unacceptable. You all know that the meeting is coming to that. Why does not you do not have this information? And to further that, board members they get the information from staff before they go to the meeting that's on these board agenda items. They send staff questions and they ask questions before they come to the meetings, before they sit down and have a conversation, so they can have a grasp of what's going on. And you get the question, staff gets the question, and they get asked the same question in the meeting, or we don't have this information. Board members will say, well, we sent you an email asking you for that. Yeah, and then you sent us something, so I'm not clear with what you sent me. It infuriates me. Sandra and I were watching a school board meeting where each and every single staff member were like, well, we got to check with that number. We got to check. Like, did you not know that you was coming to a school board
meeting? And they still doing it. They were doing it today. They were absolutely doing it today. I'm like, and I know, like, when teachers are out and they're gonna be out, whatever, they have to have lesson plans. Because I didn't teach I teach college level students, but I used to have like a syllabus. I used to have my assignments planned out week for week, that if something happened and I wasn't there that day, somebody should be able to walk into my classroom and look at my lesson plans and talk about what was happening today, right? Like what we're supposed to do today. Mm-hmm. Even if they couldn't fully teach the content, they at least knew where we were supposed to be today and maybe give the students some sort of direction. Now, if you have a person that's in your office working for you and they're like your number two, and you should leave some instructions and some plans that they should be able to roll up in there and look at it and give a significant amount of information, if not be able to present that information.
That's not unreasonable. Every organization known to man operates that way. Like, that's not unreasonable to ask. And it becomes this is so chronic that's why there's so much minutia in this district. And not just at the school board level. Sometimes it permeates to the district level in terms of the commissions, the Broward commissions, and all that other stuff. At least they have a little bit, method to their madness. But this right here, and it also affects new school board people coming in who are not really versed with how things are working. And then once you get there, that's when you start to learn about the inner workings or whatever.
Well, I mean, they were voting today. So
they were voting on
they got elected like 3 weeks ago, and they were voting today. So I don't know the learning curve.
Let's not be around the bush.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
But let's not being around the bush. They were voting on things they're not versed in. They were voting on things that they're not aware of. They were voting on things that they're not fully immersed in, and that is a disadvantage to the district. I think that when and I understand that things have to move along as we're going through. I get it. However,
at what cost though?
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Somebody said in the comments, it's the norm in the district to passing the buck. Leadership in the district is the problem. Where's the accountability? That's from Sonia Johnson. Listen, and you can be outside looking in. Outside looking in, that's exactly what's going on. Outside looking in, that's exactly what's going on. Like and my thing is that you have new people coming into the board as if that's going to drastically change things. Things don't drastically change like that. That's not how that works. So, and then you get people who come in and then basically get spoiled by what's going on and just they go along to get along. Not because they want to, not because they try to, but because that's where it's going. So I don't know. I'm hoping that the fresh people on here will make some strides in trying to get staff to be more prepared for meetings, and that they are really looking at the issue as they should be looking at the issue, not based on their own personal agenda. I'm hoping that will happen. I mean, I don't know, but we'll see.
There was a changing of the guard because we said who the new chairs of the board was. Tori Austin was the chair at the last board meeting. Lori Alhadeff led the meeting. One of the things that she did that was very different from what Tori Austin was doing was that she didn't let them read the public comments, right? So Tori Austin would the public comments, the people that are there, they got to speak. And then, people, when you send in the email or, send in the comments, yes. And he had this person that used to sit there and the person would read all of the comments.
Staff would read comments, right?
Okay, so they would read the comments. She was like, yeah, we emailed them to the board. Brenda Pham was like, I ain't getting no email. She's like, well, we'll send it to you and then we'll make the comments public. And she read not a now one. That's different. And I wonder why, because I know that at least I know that different folks have reached out to me. They were saying, listen, you can you make a public comment about certain issues that were supposed to be addressed today and that type of thing. And the man was like, yeah, there were 53 comments that came in. And I don't think she wanted people to hear what they were. And that part, one of the other issues that happened with this board is this whole idea of transparency. Right. Exactly. And yes, it's going to take time. And, you may not want to have a 12 or 15 hour meeting, but this is one of them days where you should have had a 12 or 15 hour meeting, because if you got 53 comments, that means that there's some things that the people wanted you guys to hear and they wanted everyone to hear.
And I don't mean to cut you, but to get that information, I just want to put things into context. You will have to do a public records request.
She said she was going to make it public. I don't know what that means, but she said she was going to go ahead and make it public. You
have to do a public records request to get it. She can't make it public. They're not going to post it on the page that's not how that works. You have to make a public records request.
So I can't just go check on the website and find it. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Well, how did she say she was going to make it public?
She just said she was going to make it public. That's all I heard. And she was going to get it emailed to the board members and she was going to make it public for people to see. The chief of staff would read the comments online, 54 comments asking to keep Tori Austin as chair. So Sonia, are you saying that he's going to do a video reading them and then we can go watch the video of him reading all of the comments? Is that what you mean, Miss Sonia? Please let us know, because I don't know how that works, because I know she did say she was going to make it public. And so I don't know, is she going to post the video of him reading all 54 comments?
What I do know, anything that's public in the school district, you have to do a public records request.
But then the interesting thing is okay, so say he does read it now, it doesn't have the same effect as if it was discussed in that meeting, right? That's a whole different, you know what I mean? That's like when Bill Barr talked about the Mueller report, right? Before the report came out, he gave some whack synopsis of what it was and kind of softened the blow, sting it, changed up what the real deal was, you know? So it's not the same. It's not the same impact if it was read right then and there during the meeting. Right. So that's one thing.
Listen, let's be honest. We see the hustle. We see the hustle out, like it is what it is. We see the hustle. Good evening, Miss Smith. How you doing?
Yeah, Commissioner Smith.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, I didn't realize that was her. Sorry, Commissioner Smith. How you doing? No, we see the hustle. Like it is what it is. And my thing is that if you're starting off like that, no, previous comments in the past, I was stating the process. Previous comments
for the new board. Okay. Yeah, they would read it. So now we don't know how we're gonna hear that. And even if we hear it later, it's not the same impact.
And that's the thing, and that's the level. So everybody, you know, just because you're chair, you don't have really overly much power over everybody else, but then you can make the decisions on how things go, right? So now, you know, and that's very funny to me that she didn't want to put out these public comments, because majority of people in Parkland, they always send these comments online. Like they always send in these comments. They don't go out of their way to come to the district to make public comments unless it's something that she's called or a couple of people say, hey, we need to be down there. But normally, historically how they roll is they send public comment to be read out loud. So it's funny to me how she decided that she didn't want to read these public comments. But let's see, when it comes down to one of her agenda items, let's see how quick those public comments are being read. And it could be 3-4 hours, and she'll make sure that she read them. And that is what people need to pay attention to. I sent a clip to Sandra, I can't remember what state it was, where the Moms for Liberty South Carolina were able to get all new school board members, and they fired the Black superintendent and the Black attorney for the school board all in one day, and replaced them all in one day. Without giving any explanation. And obviously they do things differently over there, because for us, you can't just be doing it all willy-nilly. We have to have like a reason for it. The point I'm saying all of that to say, when you have a board chair who is making these decisions, whether it's favorable to her or not, favorable. And that's the only reason why she didn't read them, because it wasn't favorable for her. If it was favorable for her, she would have had them read. So my point is, if you're doing all of that to kind of make you look good, that is not the job. That is not the business of the schools and the school and the kids in the district. We need to see everything in its entirety. Good, bad, and the ugly. Because at the end of the day, they are effectively making decisions that affect our children. They're making decisions that affect their staff, their 33,000 staff members that they have that work there. And if you're going to try to maneuver things to make you look good, then you're not here to do the business of the school district.
Yeah. And especially since there was all this talk about, the public, and, they're here to represent them, and, it's here about the children and all of this stuff. But it seemed as though like everybody's really there like for themselves in some respect, She said, based on the Sunshine Law, the public comment needs to be public in a public meeting available for public viewing. Okay, well. Let's see how this goes. I'm hopeful that board is okay, but I just don't know yet. I don't know yet.
My question is the public viewing. How is that? How does the public view that? So are we?
No, the public viewing should have been. They should have read those comments today. Anything outside of that, I don't know if it's.
My understanding, in order for you to get any kind of public information, you got to do a public records request. And if that's what's going to happen, if that's what that looks like, people got to pay for that. That's not free.
And then that's not how it should be, right? Like if even if you got to go make a request for that, they didn't explain that, right? A lot of people's not going to know that. Folks aren't going to get that information, and then that can be delayed. Because one of the other things, Natalie Lynch Walsh is one. She's at every meeting and she talks on practically every issue. And even though some people may find her annoying, she knows what she knows. Okay, so the things that she knows, she actually knows what it is. And then she was talking talking about how there was some issue with I think the deputy superintendent, whoever the number 2 person is. Like typically when they wanted information, they would go get it, speak to the people, get the information. Now that whole process has changed, right? They can't get the information. They don't have access to the folks, the facilities folks, or whoever it was that they were able to speak to. And then she said, and even the people who are the superintendent, whoever she is, the deputy superintendent, I mean, who's blocking them from actually getting the information that they need, they don't even have the nerve to tell it to their face. They send some security person who's working there to go tell them, you don't have access to the building. You can't come into that facility. And so if you guys are doing things the right way and you ain't really got nothing to hide, why we changing stuff and making stuff hard? You know what I mean? And you could be actually doing everything right, but sometimes perception is reality. So if you're given this perception that you're like, you got something to hide, you're not being cooperative, you're making things difficult unnecessarily, then you know,
and then the thing too is that these deputy superintendents are not getting their directives from. They're getting directed from the higher ups. It's not like they decide to make decisions.
Well, I mean, they're deputy superintendent. They kind of like, ain't they like close to the high up? It's like what, one step down? They like
are, but I'm telling you, they talk about all of this before they make the decision. They don't just make decisions like that. Everybody's working together. My point I'm trying to make is from the top of the school board to the middle, where we're talking about the superintendent, to the staff. All of that has to be that. All of that needs to be. They need to clean all of that.
Well, the school board members not supposed to be talking to each other.
They're not.
They're not, and we cannot suggest that they are, and we're not suggesting that they do. I'm just saying legally they're not supposed to speak to each other.
They don't need to talk to each other to clean shit up. Oh, sorry, they don't need to talk to each other to clean.
It's that kind of day.
That kind of day. I'm sorry. They don't need to talk to each other to get things clean. They have eyes and ears. They can see. they can see and they can start making changes on their own. All I'm saying, from the top to the middle to the bottom, all of that need to work it out. All of that needs to work out. They don't have to talk to each other to do it. They can see, they can go back and review videos. They can go back and look at agenda items. They all can see where there is places for improvement. And all I'm saying is,
I mean, if they would listen, they would know where the places for improvement are. But they just be having people over there talking, running their mouth, and they'd be like, "Okay, sure, and then go do something different." But
Commissioner Smith said no, it should be posted online on their website for public access. It should be in the minutes of the meeting. And I think she's responding because I said the last time I was trying to get any kind of information, I have to do a public records request. But I think Commissioner Smith is responding to that about my statement, and I totally agree, and I'm hoping that that's what that is.
Let's hope that's what it is then.
Hope that's what that is, because I'm telling you. I'm telling you, I just don't understand why you wouldn't allow public comment.
Because it was 54 of them. Anybody got no time for that?
Okay.
It's the week before. It's a couple of days before Thanksgiving. People got pies to make.
54 comments from constituents.
They got pies to make. You know that turkey got
comments from constituents.
Got to defrost and get injected.
54 comments from constituents who vote. 54 comments from constituents who have children in the school. 54 comments from people from stakeholders.
You gotta let that meat marinate. It takes 2 days, so it can be good.
You as a board member who is an elected official should not shut down people who are sending their public comment, who are making an effort
comments right before Thanksgiving.
And be part of the betterment of the district. That shouldn't, and whether it's a good comment,
and the betterment is to not have 12 and 15-hour meetings.
Well,
she thinks.
Well, the 12 and 15-hour meetings ain't because of the comments, honey. The 12 and 15-hour meetings is
well, if they had to read 54, it might have took that long.
Because staff is never prepared. That's the 12
pot to bake.
That's the problem. The problem is that we gotta wait on staff to go get information to come back. They
don't got it. They told you she had a flight. Yeah. The other person had a flight. Okay. She had family obligations.
What's your priority? What's your favorite thing? Stop talking about old stuff.
About old stuff. And they like, listen, I gotta go see my mama or somebody in DC.
Well, I'm just saying,
not with y'all today.
Your 12 to 15-hour meeting
on a plane already.
Staff is not prepared. Okay. questions. We gotta wait on questions. Circle back. Okay, well, while you waiting on that,
let me tell you something. Let me just make a comment. So I'm a little older than I look. Okay, so when I had a job, this was 30 years ago when I had a job. So there were times of the year that we couldn't not be at work. You know what I mean? I said, but I'm trying to go to New York because they're like, no, y'all got things to do. Things are important here. So you can't not go to work. So, I mean, I understand she might have had some family obligations and a planned trip, but when you got a board meeting that's very important, that has important issues on the agenda, as a high-level employee that got responsibilities and that wants to be held accountable, you gotta get on the next flight. You don't get to go right then and there. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I done had to not go, period. You know what I'm saying? Let alone, okay, I could just get on a flight later. I had to not go. And this is when I was in my 20s with a regular old social work job, not even upper management. So I understand how, because you had a trip, you don't get to come and answer. And I don't know if the school board is considered their bosses or whatever, but I don't know how you don't get to come and answer questions that's for the public, for the people that you're there working for. Like, you just be like, nah, I got things to do. And I see y'all, and then you send somebody that don't have the information.
And you're the whole director.
I'm not understanding.
And you're the whole director. You're the whole director of that department.
Nope, I don't get it.
All I'm saying is that the meetings are scheduled in advance. It's on the calendar. The agendas are for the most part are scheduled in advance. So I'm telling you, your 12 and 15-hour meetings that they've been having, it's because staff ain't prepared. And my thing is, there's no reason why staff shouldn't be prepared. When you have ample time and notice that your meetings are going to be, you know, a month or two out when the meetings are going to be. No excuse. No.
Listen, I had to work. I had some things to do yesterday evening, and I was running late. And I wanted to do it from the comfort of my house, but I couldn't because I didn't have time to get home. Yep. So I had to make a stop somewhere to meet my obligation, and then I got to come home. So I don't know how you get to go start Thanksgiving early. I don't understand when you got work to do, because I don't understand. I just don't understand how that's an acceptable response and excuse and why that's tolerated.
I guess
people that's making six figures, I don't understand.
Just saying,
and that's why things don't get done. And then now you got to go have a whole nother meeting again because this person couldn't delay their trip 4 hours or whatever it would have been, and prepare their second in command to be ready to answer their questions.
Ergo, your 12 and 15-hour meetings. I don't know how else to tell you why they have 12 and 15-hour meetings, because people are not prepared, or people are going on trips when they know that they had a scheduled meeting to present information. So my thing is that I'm hoping that the new board sees this. I'm hoping that the new board will say, hey, you know what? Something has to change where that is concerned. And from now on, from this point on, if staff is not ready, heads are going to roll. Not I'm saying not people need to get fired, but there needs to be some sort of
they're gonna be repercussions. What Betty Murphy said, repercussions and consequences. Consequences and repercussions.
Here. There needs to be they need
repercussions.
Consequences and repercussions.
I tell you,
you have one job
that you should be able to do halfway well.
Listen,
I'm not 100%. Well, I mean, perfection. I'm got to do it better than this.
To know your job so well that when somebody's asking you a question, you should be able to rattle off that information.
Because now it's starting to come to me, like with all of these I don't knows, I'm gonna get that when I see you the next time answers. It seems like y'all just don't want people to know. Y'all just hoping people are gonna forget that y'all didn't answer the questions the last time, and they just ain't gonna talk about it no more, or talk about it 18 months from now when another project is delayed 5 years because y'all can't get it done because y'all don't never had the answers to no questions. You know what I'm saying?
And board members need to make sure that they listen to their constituents too, because you can't come into a meeting after you've heard from your constituents and you come and then you make a decision, right? Because there was something that they had dissenting board members on an item and voted unanimously anyway, knowing that they had
that's kind of how they roll.
feedback from their community. They came and they said their feedback from the community, and they still had a dissenting opinion, but still voted unanimously. If you're not going to come in here to do the business of the community and do the business of the kids to make sure what's best in the best interest of the children, then what are you here to do? What are you there for? I'm not saying that you got to roll every time the committee every time your community says something, but you need to at least vote in a space where you're voting when you fully have the kids in the forefront of what you're doing. The children and the staff, you have them in the forefront, and this is what you voted. You got to look at it that way. You can't, these board members continuously been making decisions based on like how they feeling, based on what one of the staff members said. But like you're not trying to make a conscious effort to look at everything in its entirety and do what's best for the kids and the staff. That's my problem. That's my problem.
No, it's not. And so someone, Kimberly Burke Mahorn said, yeah, she didn't want to hear the comments in favor of Tony being the chair. Yeah, she didn't want to hear none of that. She didn't want to hear none of that. This is absolutely unfortunate what we're witnessing. And I'm gonna be hopeful and help think that they're gonna get this together. I don't see that yet. And and just like I said, parts of the meeting that I was witnessing, I was like, wow, it's a lot of more of the same, which we absolutely don't need. We absolutely don't need. But I wanted to talk about one of the things that they voted on last week. Okay. Mm-hmm. So last week they voted to give a charter school. I don't know if it's all the charter schools in Broward County or if it's just Pines Charter in particular, because again, I couldn't hear all of it, but I think I heard enough of it to know that they agreed to give these people some money, right? And listen, I got a kid in charter school and I got a kid in public school, so I'm not telling no parents what to do and what not to do. But what I do have a problem with is them giving a charter school out west, because it was Pembroke Pines. It was in Pembroke Pines that they were like, we want our millage money back since whatever information they gave.
All
the charters. Okay, so that means that my kid's charter school is included in this. Which let me tell you something. So, just for example, my son is on a basketball team. They sent me a link that I had to raise $850 for him, right? So I had to raise $850 and I had to pay a $250 athletic fee. And then they got all these trips planned. My son has the opportunity to go on some 12-day European vacation in March. He could go to DC for a couple of days in June, and he could go to New Zealand, Australia, and Fiji in 2024 for spring break. Okay. So let me tell you. So if my charter school kid have those kind of opportunities right now without the $10 million, I don't see how with a clear conscience this school board voted to give them money at the expense of other schools getting their playgrounds fixed or a playground added, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe deal with that mold in the roof that they not want to talk about. I don't see how you get to you agree to send money to that school when the charter school that my kid goes to got me raising $850, and now that's not for the whole team. That's per player. So each player's family had to raise $850 for each player. We had to pay a $250 fee, and then he got opportunities to go all kind of trips and stuff like that. So if the family's there that have these resources to pay for this kind of stuff, there's no way they should be getting additional money. And I'm telling you, I'm one of them parents. There's no way with a clear conscience this board should have voted to send $10 million to these schools with these kind of resources and access at the expense of playgrounds being fixed and playgrounds being added to schools. That right there shows that they are not thinking about everybody in this county. They are not thinking about every school in this county. That's so ridiculous to me. I just can't. And again, I got a kid in public school and I have one in charter school. And I'm telling you, the Pines charter schools, the charter schools and Pembroke Pines don't need that money.
Madness.
I'm telling y'all they don't.
Let me tell you something. I had 3 kids that went through charter.
Someone said they had no intentions to give the charter schools the money, but didn't they vote to give them the money? So how do they have no intentions if they voted to give them the money?
Can you give us some clarity, Kimberly?
Yeah, please give us some clarity, because I hope they don't. Because they really, I hope they don't. I don't want them to. Because
they voted on it already. It's already voted on.
I thought they voted to give them the money. They absolutely should not.
Wait a minute. That was during the workshop. So I don't think it came up for a final vote yet. Because when you were talking about that was during the workshop, right?
But I thought they said they were going to give them the money. That was my last understanding. But I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. But even if y'all haven't voted yet, I want it on the record that I want y'all to say no to that. Okay? Say absolutely not to that. So if it has not been voted on, I need y'all to vote no to that.
And I can also relate, because three out of my 5 kids.
She said they rescinded it today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I did say that I didn't get to see all of the meeting because I be working. People be signing my checks, so I'll be having book. So thank you so much for that update. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. My kids went to three out of my 5 kids went to charter school, and I can tell you that they went to exotic places. And we had to raise money, just like how you were talking about. And I was like, I didn't understand, because when he came in, he's like, well, those parents and those families should get the millage. Okay, but sir, listen, like you got to understand.
Y'all get enough. I'm because y'all ain't no school out here. Ain't no school out here worried about no playground. They're not. You know what I'm saying? So if you got a playground, sound like you already got too much in the schools that don't have one. Okay.
The money given to charter schools is one of Governor DeSantis and the Republican legislator. The representative legislature has been pro-charter for years. It's always been something like that. My thing is that the fact that, first of all, education not worldwide, but nationwide, is at the bottom of the totem pole, even at the federal level, at the bottom of the totem pole. We get scraps. Okay. So the little bit of scraps we have to share with charter schools that are for profit. Some of them are for profit.
So I don't even want to give it to I don't even want to rag on all the charter schools, right? I just wanted to say that they shouldn't get that money. Thank you. But what I'm saying is, like, even within the public schools, there's a disparity in how the funding is distributed, and it should not be that way. It shouldn't be that way. There's no excuse, to me anyway, why schools out west don't have not an inch of the concerns that they're talking about with these schools that are like in District 5, for instance, or some of the schools that are in District 1. That should not be the case. If the money is for the entire public school system, then all of those schools should have, if not the same thing, close to it. You should not have an area where all the schools got playgrounds and all kind of stuff, and then you have schools that don't even have it, and then you're over here trying to rehab ones that are there, right? That's the problem that I'm talking about. So that ain't even only just a charter school thing. That's even like within the public schools, depending on what your zip code is, you're not getting all of what you're entitled to.
Well, and I agree with that, and I'm not trying to rag on them either. I'm just saying that if you look at the total picture of what's going on in terms of charter school versus public school, we already, just like how you mentioned, already having issues within the public school by itself in terms of equity. And that's one of the things that I heard on the campaign trail is about equity and transparency and all this other stuff or whatever. But yet still, when we're still here we are in 2022, and we still have schools out east that don't have the same thing as schools that are out west. This is 2022. I'm confused. And my thing is that any board member coming in, and those who've been sitting there for at least 3 years, who have seen what the issues are, how have you not had a conversation in an open board meeting about the disparities that are within the district? And why are we not attacking that? Why is that's the first mode of attack to be? Because I know somebody just made, Sonia Johnson said, all kids matter, all children matter. So how is it that that is not like on the number one top of the agenda? They talk about it, but they talk about it on like a side issues. They talk about it like it's a semantic issue rather than making it the most important issue. That's just me. I want to be optimistic with the new board. I want to be optimistic that they're going to see some of the failures. They're going to see the disparities. They're going to see the lack of equity and make sure that is something that they rally behind. I'm also hoping that they will be able to come to some consensus that will be done, they will do right by all students and all staff members in Broward County. And people need to start taking notes. If you're going to be the chair of the school board, you have to take the good with the bad. You can't not read public record because it's not in your favor. You're on mute.
Public comments because you don't like it. Because people basically saying that you should not be the chair.
Because it's not in your favor, you can't not read it. I mean, I don't know what that means. I'm confused. I'm confused.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that happens. I'm gonna go through and watch the parts of the meeting that I wasn't able to watch today. But I'm glad for that update because that right there was driving me nuts. I was like, "Are you people crazy?"
And how much was that? That was
And that was another one of those things that they talked about for 5 hours last week, and then just to come and rescind that. And so the other thing that we're gonna, we'll see what happens is what they do with the superintendent. Are they gonna go through with her, firing, or if they're gonna go ahead and try to reinstate her? But she ain't the only person that should get fired. If they go, she ain't the only one that should go. It's a whole bunch of folks that need to get fired, and hopefully they take it a lot seriously about really getting people on the in the district that's really interested in trying to educate the students that are here, because right now they so caught up trying to figure out how they gonna build these schools, fix these rules, get these playgrounds and all that kind of stuff, and that they can't even get to the work of the children. Because one of the other things they were talking about was that they were talking about some project that's getting delayed again 18 months. And apparently there were 2 different invoices with invoice numbers and they didn't realize it. See, that's that kind of stuff. I'm like, so you don't realize that you got 2 invoices. So those are the kind of things that are going to happen that just can't happen anymore. So, I mean, we've been talking a lot longer than we wanted to talk.
Yeah, that's true. But I think it's important.
Let's see what happens. Let's see if we're going to get the 9th board member, what that's going to look like. Hopefully that'll resolve itself sooner rather than later. And see what they're going to do.
We'll see it.
They said they rarely visit the schools in their area, and that's oblivious to the deterioration, and that's crazy.
It's true.
That's unacceptable.
It's true. It really is. It really is. It's unacceptable. And I know that some of the new board members were saying that they were going to make it a point to go visit most of the schools or whatever. I hope they really do. I hope that they make it their business. You know what I mean?
And if they don't, we're here to talk about them.
All day.
Because I'm over it. I'm straight.
You don't understand when it comes down to kids. I feel like we do not have the luxury of messing up. When it comes down to children, you do not have the luxury of making mistakes. You don't have the luxury of kind of putting obstacles in their space where they can't get to where they need to be.
There's already enough crazy obstacles coming from the governor, right? You know what I'm saying? So we can't have. Just
the kids need to be in an environment where they can thrive. There's way too much garbage in the district that needs to be cleared out so we can get to a place where the kids can be not having to be concerned about, even the teachers, staff, all of them not having to be concerned about the minutia. At some point, y'all need to look at this and say, a board member needs to look and say, this right here is
all y'all crazy. We need to get to work for real.
It's all toxic. We need to work to get this moving. We need to move this along. You know what I'm saying? At some point, that needs to happen.
Yeah, it absolutely needs to happen.
Yes, Mimi, Miss Robinson. You said we can't. What she said? We just can't get mad without knowing the guidelines and the laws. We can get mad and
imagine we don't even say we don't know the laws and the guidelines, right? And we mad because we know it don't make sense. Okay. Right. So you don't even gotta know what the true procedural parts of it is to understand that what you're witnessing is not okay, right? And if what we're witnessing is okay, that's a problem. So I don't even gotta know the details, because the devil's always in the details. I don't even gotta know the details. If what I'm looking at right now is straight crazy nonsense, then that means that there's a problem. Right? That needs to be addressed. Now, do we need to figure out what's the best way to do that? We all know that voting is the way to do that, right? We all know. You don't like what they're doing, when their time is up, get them up out of there. That's all. Right. So we do know that that's what we can do. But in the meantime, we gotta put their feet to the fire and at least try to get them to be halfway decent about what it is that they're doing. Because
Absolutely.
part of what it seems like to me is that folks have been allowed to get away and do nonsense for so long that they've normalized it, right? Yep. And then, you know, that they're like, no, but this is what we do, and this is how it go. Like, no. This can't be what y'all do. And if it was what y'all were doing, you can't do this moving forward because this is not working, right? Exactly. This is not working. So yeah, you know, it's too crazy.
Yeah, it's way too crazy. And the
bottom line, we know it's the inequities. We know that there's inequities, and it absolutely is.
There's no equity, and there's nothing. And at the end of the day, if we're talking about kids, then all kids deserve everything, and they all deserve the same. They shouldn't be, you know, just because of their location or where they located at is why they can't get enough stuff. And then I don't want to hear
even if they don't get the same, when one has everything and the other got nothing, that's a whole problem. And you don't need no guidelines or operations or whatever to know that ain't right.
Absolutely. And then you're also talking about us working with bare bones budget, right? Because we can't afford to be giving them $10 million. We can't afford that.
But part of the reason why their budget is all messed up is because they wasting money too. You understand what I'm saying? Like they doing some stuff. You got people that's out here asking you for extension on contracts and want you to pay them $164 for officer and all this kind of stuff, but they can't give you no data on the effectiveness of what it is that they doing. And when you tolerate stuff like that, you're gonna feel broke because you out here mismanaging your funds. And I'm not making no accusations in terms of like whether or not they're mismanaging or not, but that's what it looked like to me, because it seemed like if y'all got $800 million and still can't get nothing done, sound like somebody messed up, and whoever made those decisions and messed that up, they should not be able to keep their job. Like, how do you get to keep your job and continue to work when you couldn't figure out how to make something work out properly?
The auditor came out and said there was some mismanaging of funds. Now, he didn't say the word mismanaging of funds, but he alluded to it by some of the actions that
something ain't right.
Some of the actions that were taken,
we don't know, but something ain't right.
It is what it is. I just, for those of who are watching and you're telling people, you need to understand that voting is the only way we can make people understand.
Well, voting for the right people too.
Voting for the right people too, and then but holding them accountable.
I don't know who they was voting for.
Listen, I'm just saying. Y'all.
Yeah. This is going to be a sight to see. Is all I'm saying.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna be keeping a scrutinizing eye. Keep a scrutinizing eye. I'm gonna be keeping a scrutinizing eye, honey.
I'm gonna have something to say.
Every 5 minutes, we're gonna be coming on this platform. Every time something don't sound right to us, we're gonna be like,
when we do have our next state of education school board edition, I'm gonna make sure I done seen all the videos and get all the updates. So I'll be mad for 5 minutes about something that ain't no problem no more, because I was hot. About a good 5 minutes.
Okay, you like how you?
I was listening. I was hot. You know, so I'm about to be mad for 5 minutes.
Hot. Everybody else and their mama was like, they doing what with how much with who now?
I was I was mad for 5 minutes for no reason. So I'm glad I got saved.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you, Kimberly. She saved me. She saved me. I was like, Lord. And they better don't bring that mess back up to vote on either.
I hope not.
Trying to hear that.
You don't come back and read no nothing.
Yeah, no, that just they need to leave that one alone.
Yeah.
All righty. So
we will be back next week.
All right. So I had two comments that I wanted to make. I actually made some notes to say today's show. There was two things I wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah.
So I got a letter, I got an email that said my student loan debt relief was approved, but because there's a lawsuit pending, it don't matter, because I think it was a judge in Texas that basically said what Joe Biden did about the student loan forgiveness was like he was not allowed to do that, you know. So they can't.
You applied?
What you mean? Of course I did. Yeah, my income ain't. You know what I'm saying? I ain't fancy like the rest of y'all now. You know what I'm saying? I told people to sign my checks. So
I just asked
you. What you think? So yes, I did. Okay, because I got people signing my checks. This is not self-employed, Sandra. This is like somebody signed my check and they deposit it every other week. Right, so yes, I did apply. Okay,
okay.
And so they was like, yes, it was approved. But they can't do nothing because there's an injunction on it. So I'm a little salty about that.
So Joe, so Uncle Joe, what we doing?
I don't know what they're gonna do, but they need to go ahead and work that out. So I don't know if the rest of y'all got your emails, but if you applied, apparently that's an email that they're gonna be sending out.
Everybody want their coins. We need some relief.
And I don't know if it was fake or not, but I mean, I did get that email. I asked someone to confirm, and they said, "Yeah, no, it looks like it's good. That's the right email address that it came from." But I was kind of, whatever. But I hope that approval when they do, but they did say something like, "We think that the injunction is meritless, and we should win it, and we should be able to." Once this goes through the court system, it should work itself out. So that's another thing about who you elect and who you put in office, because then you have people filing lawsuits to prevent regular folks from getting relief, but they don't have no problem giving big corporations all kind of money.
Audacity for me. It's the audacity for me for somebody to get relief, and you say, you can't get none. I'm confused.
You know what I'm saying? Like you gonna give American Airlines, the Ford, the car industries, all kind of billions and billions of dollars. And you don't want to help the regular people out here that's voting for y'all to put y'all in office, like regular, because trickle down economics does not work. It is not a real thing. You need to give whatever you giving to the people. That giving it to the big corporations, and hopefully it trickles its ways down to like regular folks. That ain't working. That don't happen. And the people just go directly to folks.
And the people in Congress who are blocking it are the same ones that got PPP loans.
That part.
I don't understand. And we're not talking about no 10,000 PPP loan, honey. We're talking about 6-figure PPP loans that they didn't even have to pay back.
6. You talking about 7? There was one guy that got $4.3 million.
That's true. You're right.
You mean?
7 million.
So that part right there, I need them to figure that out.
Uncle Joe, we're gonna
get Raphael Warnock elected, and let's see if we could just do some stuff.
Get you some good attorneys that know what they're doing, Uncle Joe. Because listen, this is what you campaign.
Well, I think the attorneys are good. It's just that it's some of these, I believe, judges may be compromised, but I digress. Okay. And the next thing I had one more thing, but that was actually number 2 on my list. Imagine that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my number 1 thing was so I need some of these other outlets to start allowing people to read their news for free. Because remember I told you that for some reason all of my news be coming from Fox News and the articles and all of that.
Yep.
If Fox News just has a slant on facts that I don't agree with. Because I read one of the articles that they sent, and I'm just like, child, please, Fox News. That ain't how you tell that story. Because they were saying something about the University of Florida, and their medical center, and how they're training doctors and all this type of stuff. You read that one, right? Yep. And then I remembered when you told me about how your daughters had gone, and they had a Black doctor, and how that was such a very different experience for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because medical schools are starting to realize and acknowledge that representation does matter. Sometimes there are certain cultural sensitivities that you need to be aware of when you're treating certain types of patients.
Absolutely.
Now they want to act like they're including CRT in medical schools. Fox News, please just unsubscribe me. Don't send me no more stuff. Or CNN, MSNBC, one of you folks, y'all or Washington, whoever, y'all need to start letting people get news for free.
How you found me is what I want to know, Fox News. How you found me to send me to me in the first place? Because
I don't know, but I think they're the only one that's not making you pay them to get news, so their news gets circulated all over the place. Because I can't read another Sun Sentinel article because they want me to pay them $1 every. I don't know what it is that they want me to pay them. I'm just like, I resist.
The Miami Herald and the Sun Sentinel, and then there's another one. Y'all can't have Facebook pages and then expect people to pay for news stories. Y'all shouldn't be doing that.
Well, then, I mean, and if they don't want to go ahead and put this information out here, there's some indoctrination going on because Fox is like, I'm gonna just keep telling them, spewing my narrative because y'all out here not trying to just let people get news.
No.
All right. So, what are you thankful for? Thanksgiving's coming up.
Well, Indigenous Day and Indigenous People 24/7. I don't really subscribe to Thanksgiving because that's the colonizers' holiday. Mm-hmm. So therefore, I can't. What I can say is what I'm happy that all my children are here from out of town. I'm excited about that. We were supposed to go to them.
And the dogs?
Huh?
And the dogs?
Yeah. No, just one dog. We were supposed to go to Georgia to be with everybody, but then things had to change. So I had to maneuver everything and bring everybody back here. So I'm just happy and grateful and blessed to have all my children with me right up under my bosoms. Can't wait to have them all up under here. And as far as this holiday, I have a couple of people who are from the indigenous people background that I've been contacting, sending them messages. We've been talking. They've been educating me on their history here in this country. And so I use that time to learn more about them, to learn more about their foundation. And I mean, the little bit I do know, we try to converse, but I'm learning so much from them, and I'm excited to continue to support and celebrate with them. So for me, it's Indigenous people 24/7, 365. So that is what I am blessed to know and be happy about. I don't want to say thankful, because that's the colonizers' religion.
Yeah. All right.
I don't want to do that. But what about you? What are you?
You know me. I'm just always glad to be here, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm just every day I wake up, it's like a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't know I had a serious medical. I'm a breast cancer survivor, so every day is like an absolute blessing to me, and I'm just glad to be here. Thank you, Lord. You know, that's it. So that's my thing. Right. I don't ask for no much more.
We're gonna be eating turkey together.
Yes, we're gonna do that. Like I don't need nothing. I'm just like, yo, I'm here. I'm watching my kids grow up. I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm good.
Can't complain. And I think we all need to be in that same realm that, listen, things could be worse. Where we at, we need to be happy where we at.
Right.
And be okay with that. Okay. But next
and Gail did say, she said Fox News needs to stop, because there is disparity in healthcare. That's like, she's a healthcare professional, and there's absolutely disparity in healthcare. So I was like, who y'all sending this article to? Not me. But they sent it to me, not ready. But somebody else would read it and take it for truth, and that's a problem. That misinformation is crazy. So.
And it's easy for them to say it, because they don't
got their problems. We do.
How would they know that there's a disparity? There's no disparity.
And I'm telling you, and like I said, I'm a survivor, but I was misdiagnosed. You know what I mean? I was misdiagnosed, and I'm like a person with some sense, and I got misdiagnosed, and my health deteriorated because I was misdiagnosed, and they didn't give me the proper information. So I know.
And my very first,
when they don't pay attention to what you're telling them. I'm like, no, but something ain't right. Like, oh no, it's nothing. What are you worried about? It's no, don't worry.
My very first experience when I had my very first C-section, I was young. It was a horrible experience, because nobody looked like me was there to help me. And when I was scared and I felt like something was wrong, I was literally slapped by the anesthesiologist in my face and told me to shut up. I was 18 at the time. I'm just saying, there is a huge disparity. There's a different way that they treat Black people, and Black doctors, Black care professionals. So, they can sit on their soapbox and talk all day long, but they would never know, because that's not something that they experience.
Yeah, we know.
So we ain't about Sun Sentinel, Miami Herald. Y'all need to start,
y'all gotta open up those. Let us read these articles.
Kimberly said that Newsbreak is free.
If you want to download it,
try that. And then we'll see y'all after the holidays.
Yes. Enjoy.
Don't eat too much.
Eat a lot. Just work it out later. Food tastes good. You can eat a lot for 2 days. Get out of here. Eat the pie. And let me tell you, okay, so we're talking about pie. So Commissioner Doctor, I don't know if it's Dr. Commissioner Katrina Touchstone now. Listen, I ordered 2 of her mama sweet potato pies.
Yes, ma'am.
I ain't gonna tell y'all I ate both of them myself.
You didn't even bring them for me to have some too.
Well, I ordered 2. I'll be bringing some on Thursday. Let me tell you.
What you doing?
And she told me, she's like, I'm telling you, you gonna just eat the pie, and you gonna be calling me for more. And I'm like, nah, it's 2 of them. So yes, I'm picking them up tomorrow. So if y'all don't know, y'all better reach out to her.
You have to give me the connect, girl.
And order her mama pies. They good.
Potato is my favorite. So you're gonna have to give me the connect. I'm gonna text Commissioner Touchstone today, because I need.
Let me tell you, if you don't know,
okay.
Listen, y'all better call her and get them pies. Them things good. I'm telling you, I ate both of them. I ain't even sharing them with my kids. Like.
All right, man. Well, good night, everyone. I see everybody saying
good night. Have some sweet potato pie.
Good night, Commissioner Smith. Good night, Miss Lockett. Good night, Kimberly Burke. I keep saying Kimberly Burke because I can't pronounce the last. Is it Mohorn?
Mohorn.
Good night, Mimi. And we appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with us for a little bit.
Thank you so much.
Johnson, good night. We really appreciate it. If you can like, share, and subscribe, tell your friends to hop on. And listen, we do guest people could come and talk to us or whatever. So
yeah, we're gonna perfect that part of it for 2023. We'll perfect that for 2023.
But we don't mind having people come on. But all right, y'all, we'll see y'all. Enjoy.
Thank you. Enjoy. Bye bye.
Bye bye.